saw that video trying to explain pro-black people who get into interracial relationships, and I want to add my 2 cents to it. For me, myself personally, my family would be very surprised if I brought home a Wahite man. My thoughts on this is multi-pronged, and some of it is based on other videos that I've made. And I want to make clear that I think some people are conflating pro-black with just being black and kind of like proud of being black. But my take on pro-blackness is going to be the activist, the people you would be surprised to see with a Wahite partner. Additionally, I want to say this doesn't apply to everybody. I think this is a sector of people that I'm going to try to explain. So don't take this as a generalization. Take this as there are some people who are like this. I think there is an aspect of what I've mentioned before of people trying to get their black card. And so when people grow up in predominantly Wahite communities, and then they go to a HBCU to get their black card, they start to learn hoodoo to get their black card, they start to learn tut to get their black card, they start to do all these things, maybe join a National Herbal League to get their black card. And some of it is genuine, but it is sometimes an overcompensation because of how they grew up and not growing up in their culture, that they now join organizations or do or perform actions in order to signify that they are black. Now, something that I started doing like last week or the week before is some of the people that we are surprised about, and I'm not going to name names, but I did start to like look at where are they from and what were the racial demographics when they lived there. So like if they were older and they grew up somewhere in the 19 so-and-sos, what was the population in that city back then? And some of our, people that we laud grew up in predominantly Wahite areas. One of my friends made this point of like, when we're born in America, we are all born Wahite supremacists. And so unless we acknowledge that, we cannot unpack that. So some people, for example, if we take the HBCU example, they will go to an HBCU for 4 years to get their little black crash course and then go right back to the Wahite people's communities. So unless you're going to this HBCU to fully unpack how you grew up in life, because when you are K through 12 in them people's communities, you learn how to behave like them, sometimes as assimilation, but sometimes to survive. And a lot of the things that they do, we don't do in our community. It's a matter of sometimes they go to HBCUs and realize it's actually uncomfortable to be around a bunch of black people. So they go back to where they are comfortable. But for the rest of their life, they could be like, FAMU, BCU, they Howard, and then they go to the most named ones so that it could be a quick, like I mentioned in my other video, it's like the black card of American Express. It's like you get your black card points when you say that amongst the black community. If you go to like a Harris Stowe University or like a lesser name one, you don't get that cachet as quick, so they got to go to the prominent one so you know immediately that they went to an HBCU. But they leave those HBCUs and sometimes go right back where they came from, but they still gonna sometimes be really pro-black. Them the ones that is gonna be in an interracial relationship. So if you unpack the idea that yes, they are dedicating their life to blackness, to prove it to themselves and to prove it to their community, and a lot of it can be genuine, but sometimes their comfort level is in that K through 12, so they're culturally more similar to a Wahite person, and that is why they end up marrying that Wahite person, because they're more culturally aligned than another black person, even though that person is super duper pro-black, so to speak. So yeah, that's my theory on it, and I think I did another video, or it's in my notes, that some people kind of cosplay blackness, but because they are black, it's not as noticeable as a Hispanic person, Asian person, Wahite person that is cosplaying blackness. They might be an extreme version of cosplaying blackness in that they have convinced everybody that they are really pro-black, and that doesn't negate the good things that they're doing in their community, but sometimes it's a matter of they're still culturally more aligned with their Wahite partner, so it actually makes sense.